everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Teresa Daly, and I'm a senior counselor here at the Office of Student Financial Services at Hofstra University. Today, I'm going to be going over filing the FAFSA for the upcoming 2022-2023 academic year. So let's get started. Some of the topics I will be reviewing are financial aid programs, how and when to apply, filing the FAFSA, helpful frequently asked questions, tips, and resources. So what is financial aid? Financial aid is comprised into three different categories: grants and scholarships, also known as gift aid, federal work study, and federal loans. Federal work studies eligibility is determined through the FAFSA, so this does need to be on file if you are interested in seeing if you are eligible. Most of these jobs are worked on campus and hours are based on the student's schedule. Please note that students will earn these wages in the form of a paycheck. Funds will not be applied to a student's billing account. Part-time jobs or undergraduate assistantships are available, and with this, students can earn more than just a degree. They can earn valuable networking opportunities as well as meeting fellow peers and other department members on campus and build their resume. Next, we have gift aid. This is comprised into two categories, such as scholarships or grants. Gift aid does not need to be repaid after a student graduates. Scholarships can be awarded either through the institution, which is typically through admissions, or an outside scholarship through a third party. Grants can also be institutional as well as federal. For federal grants, there is the federal Pell Grant or the Federal Supplemental Opportunity Grant, also known as SEOG. The FAFSA would need to be on file and you would need to present need in order to qualify. For New York State residents, if you have a FAFSA on file, you can also apply for the New York State Tuition Assistance Program, or TAP. This would be New York State aid. We also recommend that students apply for outside scholarships. Different search sites are listed here that you can use as a reference: finaid.org, fastweb.com, and scholarships.com. Federal loans. Loans that are offered through the federal government for education do need to have the FAFSA on file. Below, I have the rates for this academic year. Please note that the new rates will usually come out July 1st of 2022. For federal student loans, we have the Stafford, which are also known as the direct subsidized and unsubsidized student loans. These loans are in the student's name, and the difference of the two: subsidized does not accrue any interest while the student's in school, and unsubsidized does accrue interest. However, neither need to be repaid until after the student graduates. Currently, there is a 3.73% interest rate. And please note there is an origination fee that is taken from all loans at the time of disbursement. For other federal loans, there is the Federal Parent Plus loan. This is a loan that the parent borrower would borrow on behalf of the student. This also has a fixed interest rate of 6.28% and also has an origination fee. Students also have the opportunity to apply for an alternative or personal loan. Please note that variable terms and rates do apply, as well as a home equity loan. So the financial aid timeline for the upcoming 2022-2023 academic year, if you are a senior in high school, we recommend at this time a student and one parent in the household apply for their FSA IDs at studentaid.gov/FSA-ID. Students and parents each need their own, and it does take about 1 to 3 business days to verify. On October 1st is when all applications for federal and state aid become available. So the FAFSA, the TAP application, and the College Scholarship Service, or CSS profile, will become available at this time. Please note that if you are a New York State resident, you must file the FAFSA application before you file your New York State TAP application. As for the CSS profile, not all schools require this. For example, Hofstra does not require the CSS profile. I would recommend speaking to your admissions teams to see if this is a required application. You can also begin to apply for outside scholarships at this time. January through March, you want to make sure your FAFSA is filed by February 1st. That way, colleges and universities can begin to send out their financial aid award packages. FAFSA filing deadlines and timing of award notifications can vary between schools. You may need to complete verification only if it's required and other requested forms like proof of citizenship or selective service. April through May is when you want to begin making your decision, paying your tuition and housing deposits, as well as beginning to accept and decline any financial aid by the national candidate reply date, which is May 1st. After May 1st is when you would want to begin completing loan applications and any additional requirements. So who is eligible for federal aid? U.S. citizens and eligible non-citizens, such as permanent residents, are eligible to file the FAFSA and receive federal aid. Males between ages 18 and 25 must register with the Selective Service at www.sss.gov. Students must have a valid Social Security number. If a parent does not have a valid Social Security number, they may enter all zeros on the FAFSA. Deferred action or DACA students are not eligible to file a FAFSA at this time and are not eligible for federal financial aid. So why should you file the FAFSA? It's free. It determines eligibility for federal grants, loans, and work study. Some states like New York require it as the first part of an application process for financial aid from that state. Some colleges and private organizations do require it for consideration of scholarships and grants. What will you need to file the FAFSA? You would need to collect the documents needed for both the student and parents. All sources of 2020 taxed and untaxed income, such as income tax returns, W-2 benefit statements, and anything additional. You are also able to use the IRS data retrieval tool, which will simplify this process. You will also need asset information, such as your most recent bank statements, investments, stock, bonds, and mutual funds. You will also need Social Security numbers, a student's driver's license if it's applicable, and alien registration numbers if it's applicable. So can a student choose to report the 2021 information on the FAFSA? No, you must report information for the year the FAFSA asks for. Remember, there are certain items on the FAFSA that are as of today, so you must read each question and fill it out accordingly. If questions are answered incorrectly, your FAFSA may be selected for verification. What if my family's financial situation has changed since 2020? Speak with colleges you are accepted to and make sure you add them to your FAFSA. Each school may handle these situations a little bit differently, but most colleges have a special form or process for this. You must still report the year that the FAFSA is asking for, which is 2020, in order to see if you can be eligible for any additional process. Here's the homepage of studentaid.gov. For those of you who are new to the FAFSA process, you would start there. And if you are a returning user, you'd be able to log in. So here the student can log in, or you can log in as a preparer if you are a preparer from the student. I can only send the FAFSA to 10 colleges online. What if I need to send the FAFSA to more? You are able to change codes by going back into the FAFSA online or by calling the number on the screen and doing it over the phone. By doing this, you are actually removing some of the previous schools listed, and therefore future changes to the FAFSA will only be sent to the 10 schools most recently listed. Who is considered the parent when filing a FAFSA? A legal parent includes a biological or adoptive parent, or a person that the state has determined to be your parent. For example, when a state allows another person's name to be listed as a parent on a birth certificate. Grandparents, foster parents, legal guardians, older brothers and sisters, widowed step-parents, aunts and uncles are not considered parents unless they have legally adopted you. Below I have a chart listed for information you would need to provide based on your parents' marital status. For example, if both of your parents are unmarried and living together, you need to report both information. If your parents are divorced or separated, you would report the parent that you lived with the most during the last 12 months. If you do not live with one more than the other, you would provide the information of who provided more financial support at the last 12 months. So my parents are divorced or separated and living apart. Whose information do I provide? You should report the information for the parent who you lived with the most over the past 12 months, regardless of who claims you on their income tax. Do parents have to be legally separated to fill out the FAFSA as separated? No. Colleges may ask for proof of separate residences, such as a copy of a lease and utility bills. My step-parent is not responsible for supporting me, so why do I have to input his or her information on the FAFSA? If the parent you reside with is remarried, federal regulations do require you to report your step-parent's information on the FAFSA. Here's the IRS data retrieval tool that I had mentioned earlier. Here, once you get to the FAFSA, you will be able to select if you'd like to use the IRS data retrieval tool under the income section. From there, you will have the pre-filled spaces in red, and you will input the rest. Then at the bottom, you would see transfer my tax information to the FAFSA. If you'd like to transfer it, you click transfer now. What's considered an asset? Asset is net worth. Asset net worth means current value of the assets minus what is owed. Assets can include money in cash, savings, and checking accounts, businesses, investment farms, other investments such as real estate, other than the home in which you live in, UGMA and UTMA accounts for which you are the owner, stocks, bonds, and certificates of deposit. Assets do not include the home in which you live, UGMA and UTMA accounts for which you are the custodian but not the owner, the value of life insurance, and retirement plans like 401k, pension funds, annuities, non-educational IRAs, or KEO plans. How would you report a 529 plan on the FAFSA? 529 plans are reported under the owner as an investment, not the beneficiary. If the parent is the owner, it is reported under the parent investment question. If the parent has more than one 529 plan for various members of the family, including siblings of the student, then the total of all plans must be reported under that parent. Very important, once you fill out everything on the FAFSA, including your school selection, parent demographics, parent financials, and student financials, you get to the signature page. Here you would input your FSA ID as the student and sign the FAFSA. Parents will have a similar signature page after the student signs. They would also need to input their FSA ID and sign as well. Once both signatures have gone through, you will receive your confirmation page. Here you will be able to see if you have what your next steps are. If you have a sibling that will also be attending college, highlighted in red, it will prompt you to be able to complete another FAFSA where your parents' information will already be pre-populated. So what happens next? After your FAFSA is processed, you will receive a student aid report with estimated eligibility. This report will also include your EFC or expected family contribution. Each school listed on your FAFSA will receive the information you submitted. If accepted for admission, the college or colleges will calculate and prepare a financial aid package. Further details regarding your awards and other required documents will be provided within the aid package. Accepting or declining the aid offered to you and return the response to the aid office as early as possible, but no later than May 1st. So here, highlighted below is just the typical financial aid process that I had mentioned before with its timeline. So during the fall semester of your senior year in high school, make sure a student and one parent apply for the FSA ID. October 1st is when all of your applications become available for federal and state aid. January through March is when colleges will begin to send out their financial aid packages. April through May is when you want to start accepting and declining and making your decisions. So what is verification? Your student aid report will notify you if you've been selected by the FAFSA processor, and the colleges will also be notified. You would need to submit signed 2020 income documentation and request copies of your federal tax returns or signed tax return transcripts. Please don't miss out on this process. Additional aid can be offered upon the completion of verification, as well as aid can also be adjusted based on corrections. If verification is still outstanding, you will not be eligible to receive federal aid for that academic year. Should you hire a consultant to help you file the FAFSA? We do not recommend paying a fee when you're able to get the help you need right from the source for free. Specialized FAFSA representatives are available to assist you step-by-step through the process by calling the number on the screen or clicking the live help button to chat with a FAFSA representative. What are some common mistakes students and families make when completing the FAFSA? First and foremost would not be asking for help. Please make sure to call the number on the screen or utilize the FAFSA online chat or self-service buttons throughout the FAFSA application. Make sure you are filing the correct FAFSA for the correct aid year. There will be two available, which would be the current academic year and the future academic year. So make sure you choose the correct year. Do not use any nicknames. Use the name as spelled on your Social Security card. Use the correct Social Security numbers and dates of birth. Do not list parent income information under the student section. Make sure both student and parent signatures go through. And if your address has changed, please make sure you update both your FAFSA and admission application. Here I've provided helpful links and resources for financial aid. We have our website, hofstra.edu/SFS, as well as federal and New York State aid. For general aid, you can go to finaid.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the information. If you have any questions, feel free to either contact our office or FAFSA representatives to assist with the process. Hope you have a great day.